I'm going to give you a profile of myself as well as the people that generally call me. There's some aspects of this stuff just so you get an idea of who calls. I mean, I get probably 50, 60 calls a week. And the people that call are often abused as children, sometimes terribly. Most of the time it's not too bad. Most of the time it's light sexual abuse, physical abuse, and emotional abuse, like being yelled at all the time. They don't get to talk. Nobody that's ever walked into my office has ever had to talk. You know, the talk about intimacy. This includes myself. They find porn in the home, or they find it with their neighbors, and because they don't have the experience of intimate relationships in some way, they find that, it seems, through these pictures, and they fall in love with the pictures. Those are their girlfriends. It's so embarrassing for a grown man like me to have to tell you that I was in love with pictures. As a matter of fact, I was in love with Nina Hartley. So for 10 years or so, not that I didn't cheat on her, but for 10 years or so, I had almost every tape I could get, watched her, be sexual with myself, and I lost 2 wives because I couldn't throw those away, or I just didn't know. I wasn't instructed enough to know that I could watch that and have a relationship with a woman. Now, I'm telling you that hundreds of people call me with the same kind of problem, just different, slightly different story. So boys learn to objectify and sexualize rather than be intimate, simply because they don't have role modeling and no one teaches it to you in school. So the way I look at it is that they develop this coping strategy for the lack of intimacy by using porn. And grown men that call me, grown men, I'm talking about professional ball players, I'm talking about celebrities, I have people from LA that fly up, many public figures. It's a very stressful situation that they're in, and it seems like that provokes it. But many of these people, most of the story is just like my own, that they just didn't get the kind of role modeling that they needed to develop the ability to be intimate. And so when they find the pictures in Dad's closet, when the neighbor boy brings over some, when the little girl next door shows, they play doctor, these particular people, lots of them, which says a lot for our society, lots of them don't know what to do other than to give themselves gratification. Every one of them, almost every one of them says, I've got it beat, I don't have to date. I don't even have to go through all that bullshit. I've got these pictures, the best looking women you ever saw in your life. The hardest thing I ever had to do, the last piece of pictures of somebody else, the last picture was a picture of me and Nina taken at Metro Brothers Adult Theater in the lobby, and she didn't have any clothes on, and I wished I didn't, but they made me keep them on at the time. That was the last picture that I put in the fireplace, and I cried for 2 days. So I'm not a nutcase. I've studied this stuff. I've worked on my material, and with great luck, finally after 10 or 15 years of abstinence, really, I call it monking out, I met my beautiful Pauldrum here, former Buddhist nun, and we enjoy intimacy. I finally can be there. So it's my belief that many people that come to me are quite brilliant, able to do business, able to play ball, able to do incredible things, but something is askew. It causes them to underachieve. Their sexual maturity is stunted. These are my people. I suppose there are many thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that can look at pictures of naked people and just get aroused and say, wow, that was nice, and go on to think of something else. I'm not one of those people. Well, I am now, but my clients that come to me aren't. I have a saying that my clients can't get enough of what won't satisfy them. What will satisfy is a deep, rich relationship, emotional, spiritual, and physical intimacy. When the honeymoon period ends in their relationships, whatever honeymoon it is, they can't show up. They maternalize the wife. It's common in every relationship, but in this case, that's when they start buying porn or whatever they do, massage parlors, whatever. Regressive thinking. I can talk to people that are just brilliant. I've had people that have won huge awards that when they start talking about sexual matters, they're regressed back into anywhere from 8 to 15 years old. My job is to help them to see this. I do that in many different ways, one of which would be dialogue work. I have them actually talk to their 15-year-old. Mine's name is Porgy, Georgie Porgy. So I talk to Porgy whenever I start to get a little screwy, a little off, when I start what I call stinking thinking, which means leaving the realm of reality and regressing back into being a kid. I grew up in most ways, but that way I didn't. When potential clients call me, they're usually at a bottom, what we call a bottom in the 12-step program. They've lost their job, they've lost their partner, they lost their house, and not in everyone, but probably 50% of the people, 60% maybe, between 50 and 60, this is a progressive issue. In other words, what you don't think you'll do one week, you may start thinking about the next week. So there's always a little more of a rush that you want to get. I ask a question when I do an intake assessment on the telephone: what percentage of your time is spent thinking about sex and how to get it? The answers I receive are anywhere from 50 to 85%. One of the ways that I help them understand that they might need some help is that I ask them what their hourly wage would be based on a 40-hour week. Most of my people are pretty well off, so they come up with $100 an hour, $300 an hour, $400 an hour, some $25 an hour. And I have them multiply that out to find out how much money they're actually paying for separating for so long. Again, I have nothing against porn. I got nothing against shopping. I have nothing against chocolate. But I want to keep it balanced. People come to me to get balanced. Secret. I tell people you're only as sick as your secrets. And so people are keeping this secret. One of the big cathartic things that happens when they come to me is that they tell.